Hi Nasri, hi Carlos, how are you?
We're doing
Doing
great.
good.
Great,
Very nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too. First of all, I was looking at your Instagram comments, and you have so many Brazilian fans.
Yeah.
They are always hyping you up. Why do you think your music appeals so much to Brazilian fans?
That's a great question.
Um,
Love that.
I think it's because of the laid back vibe of Magic, you know, but it's like we're laid back, but we still have some energy, you know? And I think like that's kind of the Brazilian vibe from what gathering from when we've traveled to Brazil. People like Brazilians feel like they're kind of laid back, but they have some energy to them. And so I feel like that's what maybe connects Magic in Brazil. I don't know. Maybe they just like our songs.
Maybe because they are the best.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe because they're the best. And maybe because they're the best.
Right, and since we're talking about Brazilian people, I just found out that Carlos is Brazilian and he's a drummer
Yeah.
for the band. How did that happen? Since when are you working with Magic? Can you tell me a little more about that?
Absolutely. Well, I first met Ben, the bass player. I was playing here in LA. He was there when he first introduced himself to me. Like he was like, "Yeah, man, I play with Magic." I said, "Wait, what? Magic, bro? I know all the songs. I am a huge fan." And then he was like, "Well, that's amazing. So we might have some like tours. Do you want to maybe? Would you be available?" I said, "It will be a dream." So in the end of 2022, Ben called me, and it was official. And then I was able to meet Nasri and Mark, and they are my family now, and my friends, and guys that I'm always learning, because they know a lot. They know a lot, and they are very very musical and great producers, great songwriters, uh, and they are super fun. So yeah, it's a dream come true.
Right, and are you adding some Brazilian energy, Brazilian vibes to the music?
Yeah, we are.
When
We definitely
Carlos
are.
when Carlos came in, we didn't need the album was already done.
Yeah.
So, he didn't get a chance to be a part of the recording of this album. But sometimes he like screams things on stage in Portuguese. You know, he'll swear at me. He'll be like,
Maybe for the next album, then a little
yeah,
bit of
why not?
Brazilian.
maybe for the live versions.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And
definitely we are. I think it's the live shows are. We can't wait for you guys to witness these, because we are very excited. Our show is very energetic, and you can feel the love, you can feel the energy, you can absolutely dance. uh you will have a great time, I promise you. So I think like the blending between the like the vibes of the new songs, and playing with those guys, my Brazilian background, their background, is just like it is a perfect match.
I was reading one of your interviews for Rolling Stone, and Nasser said it was fun, but it was a little bit tiring to sing Roots every day,
Yeah,
and that he felt like a dancing monkey. It's been 10 years since the song came out. How
yeah.
does it feel to sing it now?
I haven't sung it yet, so we'll see. I think during that time, people didn't realize that at the shows we had a great time singing it for sure, but we were singing it 6 times a day in radio stations, and we were doing it acoustically, and it just became like. And for me, it was like doing this now for a year. I was like, don't you want to hear other songs? Like we were very proud of the other songs we were making. But no matter what, I remember one time we went to sit with some radio people, right? And I played them a song. It was this amazing song off the second album called Gloria. And they're like, that's really good. I really like that song. You know what I'm going to do? And I thought they were about to say, put it on the radio. They're like, I'm going to play Rude again. You know, and I was like, you know, so it kind of swallowed the whole world at once. But you have to think, I'm the person. I feel like I was the vacuum, you know, like, you know. But definitely found a new love for Rude. And what we do to make it exciting in the live show is we change like the intro to it. We give it some exciting new vibes. And every time we sing it, there's new faces who are so excited to hear it. So, you know, it's not about me. It's you know, it's about the fans. That's who I do it for. That's how I get the joy singing that song. You know, I've never not enjoyed singing it. It was more after being like, did they hear the other songs I just sang? You know, and I think that was more the issue that I had. It felt like that's the only thing people were posting, you know. So, you know, we have to, you know, make sure that we get that same connection to happen with these new songs, especially with the new single, Good Feeling About You, you know?
I feel like that's kind of like a common feeling for people who hit number one. Like,
Right.
it's not that they hate the song, but you know, just playing it over and over.
Right.
And they try to make it new, you know, for the next years. And you were just talking that you have a new album coming out, and I see that some of the singles came out in 2022. Is that right?
Yeah, last year we put out a couple of the songs, and I was going through some personal stuff, and we had to put a pause on it. And so, you know, we're now back and ready to just get this music out. So we're excited that we kind of had a long warm up for this album. So the next single comes out February 23rd after this single. It's featuring Robin Thicke. Very excited about that. Very cool, unique song. One of the coolest songs we've ever done for sure. And then the album comes out in March. So we're ready to go and get it out there.
I was just about to ask you that because it seems like a long rollout for an album, right? Because now things seem so planned, like
Not on purpose.
2 months, and then the album and another single, and so it was some personal stuff. You're telling me
you know, it's not like it's a private thing. I did post about it. My dad passed away last year, and so it had to. There's no way that I could have put out this, you know, positive album about inner love when I was, you know, going through that and having to be there for my family. It just didn't feel right to do that. And it was a month away from the release, and it was just too much. And I needed to just I needed to not work. And so now he's with God, and I'm ready to be 100% in mind, body, and soul. And definitely want to thank the fans for being patient through that time, because I would advise anybody when you're going through those things to put work aside and put your family first. You will not regret it, I promise. The music will still be good, you know?
Fair enough. And I'm feeling a little bit of a psychedelic vibe in these latest releases. Where did this come from? What is the inspiration?
It came from mushrooms. You know what's interesting about me as a creative? Because you hear a lot of like rock and roll people like, oh, they smoked weed I never do anything. I do literally everything completely sober. I'm just a weirdo, and just my brain. Music is kind of my drug, you know. And you know, I think a lot of this came from thinking about what is magic in the future. And I believe that magic is a live act in the future. You know, like your connection to magic in 10 years from now when we're 100 is we're a live act. Like, oh, I go to see Magic like every 2 years. Their show is so fun, you know? So we wanted to make sure that this album had a lot of great songs for live. And a part of what makes a great live moment is to sometimes get a little psychedelic, you know, which we didn't have a lot of in the first records, you know. So now it's like tapping into that energy, I think is great. Especially like, you know, Ben, our bass player, you know, he's a big Fish fan and kind of jam band fans and kind of like watching a lot of stuff he's into. And then Mark being into all this crazy chords and all that stuff. And I think for me, just wanting to grow the brand a little further, but also grow myself as a creative. And you know, it's like even with we have that song Inner Love Energy, you know, where it's like we go into that kind of like almost like little Indian flavored bridge. And when you know, I told them I wanted to do a kind of psychedelic bridge, it was like it took 3 days of like kind of like psychedelic arguing, you know. You know, and then our producer came in and he said, what about like this kind of Indian guitar line and inspired by like a sitar kind of line? I was like, yes, you know, and we just and stuff like that. So it was, you know, it was really fun, and I hope to keep doing more. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy not always, you know, making every part of a song catchy. I mean, that's what I love about Good Feeling About You. You know, the verses, even though they are catchy, they're still really artistic, you know? And then we go into this great catchy chorus. And I just feel like it's the perfect pop song, you know, that has the balance of both.
And since we're talking about catchy music, you topped the charts 10 years ago before the charts were ruled by TikTok
Yeah.
trends. What do you think of this current scenario, you know, with little dance moves and quick 2 minute songs that
Yeah,
come and
yeah.
go?
You know what, man? We decide as the listeners what becomes hits. So the reality is that if they're a hit, it's for a reason. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of artists, they spend a lot of money to push music down your throat, but you swallowed it, you liked it, you keep singing it. And so if, you know, yeah, I think sometimes I hear a song on the radio, and not to be negative, I don't like it. And I'm like, I don't know why this is popular, but that's not for me to decide. If it brings people joy, that's great, you know? You know, and I don't have to always get it. You know, you have to accept it. And at first, I didn't really get the K-pop thing, you know, and then now I'm like, these are really talented kids, you know, like they are dancing their butts off. Yeah, I mean, English is not their first language. You can't be mad that they don't sing English as well as I do, but you know, music has become so global now, where every chart is a global chart. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have artists from around the world. I mean, I just did a project as a songwriter recently for a J-pop, for a Japanese thing, you know, and I had a great time. I was like, she was so grateful, you know. I've done stuff with Chinese artists. I've done stuff with so many languages. I mean, I broke one of the hottest new stars in the Middle East, you know, a girl named Eliana, who I signed myself, and it's all in Arabic. You know, and hey, you know what? If anybody in Brazil wants to make some Brazilian music, I'll come up and I'll write some melodies. And it's like, why not? You know, why not travel the world making music? So, of course, as musicians, we naturally have a kind of critical ear, you know, and we're always like judging things. But as a human person, you know, you have to look at it and say, well, why do people like that? And you know, and remove yourself to understand it, you know, to better connect to people.
Right. And you were just talking about your experience as a songwriter, and you wrote music for very popular acts like Shakira and Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell me a little bit more about this experience? And have you ever had a bad experience with a celebrity or a pop artist?
Sure, of course. Yeah. I'm really honest with artists. So sometimes they don't like it, you know, and I just like, I don't like that idea. And they'll be like, screw you. There's no difference between somebody running a restaurant and somebody producing music. You have to be in there and be strong and have a good high moral compass and make sure that the artists are putting out the best possible songs for their careers. And it's not my job, while I'm working with an artist, to be their buddies. It's my job to be honest with them. That's why they hire me. They hire me for my honest opinion about their music. And then when we go grab a bite to eat, then we're buddies, But while we're working, of course, in my, 15 years of writing for people, there have been arguments. But I would say that's maybe 1% of the 100%. 99% of it has been joy, good times, open conversations, great friends, and great collaborations. Because, you can't get the amount of work that I've been lucky enough to get, if you're an asshole. You have to be kind of nice to people. So, and you have to find a way to speak your mind without being mean about it, and which is very, very difficult as human beings. We all struggle with that, and I think that comes with growth. I think I definitely grew a lot as I became a father, and communicating with my kids. I started to realize, like, okay, like, two kids, totally different personalities. They need to be communicated. So imagine you're in a room and I am the person, the producer, and there's three people and I have to communicate three different ways. And to get, and that's what you have to learn how to do. So yeah, but I've had, so many great memories and continue to. I'm still writing for everybody. I'm still getting great jobs and very lucky to do that.
And now for the last question. You told me that you have a tour coming to Brazil.
Yes.
Do you have any message to your Brazilian fans? And Carlos, you can say it in Portuguese.
Yeah,
Since you're
please.
Brazilian.
You want to go, Ness, first?
No, go for it. Just do it in Portuguese.
Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Então, galera, a gente tá muito, muito feliz e muito ansioso de fazer a nossa turnê. Vai ser em abril, no Brasil. A gente tem 10 datas confirmadas já. E a gente quer ver todo mundo lá. Porque faz muito tempo que a banda a banda tá querendo estar no Brasil há muito tempo já. Então, a gente não vê a hora.
Nazar, do you have anything to say to your Brazilian fans?
Everything
Did you get
that
anything
Carlos
that
said.
Carlos said?
Everything Carlos said. And also, we love you, our Brazilian fans. We love you. We can't wait to see you. Make sure you follow us online so you know exactly when we're coming to your city. And there's going to be, this is a grassroots tour, so they're smaller venues. So you got to make sure you get your tickets because they're going to go really quickly because it's been so long. So, this is going to be round 1 of 20 rounds. We're going to keep going back to Brazil, but we want to see you there. And it's in April. It's coming soon. So we'll see you soon.
Whoa.